Good evening. At this time, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for the Lincoln Way Community High School Board of Education for May 19th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Janik.
Here.
Ms. Janice Doyle.
Here.
Mr. Kirking. Here. Mr. Lacine. Mr. Lucetti.
Here.
Mrs. Stokes.
Here.
Mr. Kostick.
Here. Moving on. Thank you for everyone for coming out tonight. We'll start off with our student council presidents.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Lincoln Way Central, I would like to present some of our recent accomplishments in our preparation for the end of the year. Central Student Council Juniors and Seniors has previously hosted their annual Teacher of the Night ceremony. Students presented teachers who have made an impact on their life with dinner, a speech, and some fun trivia. This was a very meaningful and emotional night for both the teacher and the student. Our upperclassmen also just had their prom and social with new outstanding numbers of attendance. These events were definitely nights to remember and will continue to live on. Central Spanish Classes has also participated in the Pulsera project, where students could purchase a bracelet for $5, and all of the proceeds would go to helping those in Guatemala. Our students raised well above our goal. Following all of the fun, the students are finishing up AP testing and beginning to prepare for finals. Our central staff are providing students review sessions and some fun games to help with studying. Moving on to our sports, seniors Caden Simone and Andrew Flace began sectionals competitions last night for track. Our tennis team has also come out on top as conference champions with many individual conference dubs for the players. The Lincoln Ways also had their annual special games last week. It was a beautiful day filled with fun and long-lasting memories for all that attended, and ended with Central's night mascot winning the annual mascot race. Lastly, our girls soccer team has been dominating the field with more wins this week. To continue, today is our last day for our seniors. This year has been very influential in returning to normalcy following COVID. Students had to relearn study skills, consistency in routines, and studying for exams. This year provided us with the tools to prepare for our next steps in life and allowed us to enjoy a memorable senior year. As a senior, I am so grateful for all of the opportunities that were presented. On behalf of my senior class, I would like to thank the administration, the staff, and the community for an amazing year. I am so thankful to have been speaking with all of you this school year, and I thank you all so very much for making our schools as best they can be. Thank you. Have a good night.
Wait a minute, Madison. Plans for next year?
I'm going to the University of Alabama on a pre-med track.
Okay, congratulations. We've got a little something for you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Peyton Lamphere, and for the very last time, I will be presenting on behalf of Lincoln Way East as Student Council President. With the end of the school year approaching, there are many fun events and activities occurring for our students. On Friday, April 22nd, we celebrated Culture Day at Lincoln Way East. Students dressed in clothes that were unique to their culture and were able to enjoy free cultural food samples during lunch periods. On Saturday, April 30th, our juniors and seniors attended our Roaring 20s prom held at Odyssey Country Club in Tinley. It was a wonderful night for students with great food and many smiles. Last Friday, May 13th, juniors and seniors also attended social at CD&Me in Frankfurt. This night was a success, full of music, dancing, and lots of clever costumes. In addition, Lincoln Way East Best Buddies hosted a Harry Potter Spirit Week leading up to the Special Olympics. This was a super fun week for staff and students alike, and we are so proud of those who competed in our Special Olympics. Our senior picnic was held today, May 19th. Seniors got to pick up yearbooks, have fun with classmates and friends, and enjoy their very last day at Lincoln Way East. There were also many sports teams competing in conference, sectional, and state competitions. We are so proud of these teams for their accomplishments and can't wait to see how they finish out the season. Lastly, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to present at board meetings throughout the course of this year. This has been an amazing experience, and I truly appreciate the interest and attention that you have all given me. That being said, I would like to introduce our Student Council President for next year, Dalia Ahmoud. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Oh, wait a minute, Peyton. We know you're going to Florida. What do you plan to study?
I'm studying applied physiology and kinesiology.
Very good. Congratulations. We have a little something for you.
Good evening. My name is Emma Stiglick, and I'm the Student Council President at Lincoln Way West. It has been a great ending to the year for our Warriors. Our athletic department has been busy finishing off their spring seasons. Some of the highlights include our varsity badminton team finished with a strong season by winning first in the SWSC conference and sending 4 athletes to state. Next, our girls varsity water polo program had a history-making season with a second-place finish at the SWSC sectional meet. The water polo coach, Eric Pavlaka, was also named Coach of the Year. Finally, our boys track team has sent 2 athletes to state. In the area of school activities, our student council held the snack drive for Gigi's Playhouse. This drive had an outstanding outcome with 3 cars full of food for this organization. In addition, our student council also planned something new each day for Teacher Appreciation Week to help celebrate all that our amazing teachers have done for us students. In recognition of Earth Day in April, our Interact Club worked hard to help pick up trash around our school. Next, our Best Buddies program has been busy hosting the annual special games here at West. This was an amazing event where students involved in our Pure PE program were able to participate in the games with the Harry Potter theme this year. Along with this event, our Best Buddies program also hosted the first ever talent show, where students in this club were able to show off their various talents. Our theater company held their annual Westies ceremony this past Sunday night, and it was a wonderful accomplishment for our students in our theater program to celebrate all their wonderful accomplishments this year. As the year winds down, the yearbook club has successfully created another yearbook, and the distribution has been very successful. In addition, students from Skills USA competed at the state-level competition in April, where they were awarded second place. Great news from our academics is that many students were awarded the Seal of Biliteracy in German and Spanish classes. Springtime means prom season, and this year we hosted prom on May 7th. It was a successful night at Tuscany Falls, where juniors and seniors attended prom. Last night, our upper class students went to Zachary's Red Barn to have our annual social. This turnout was amazing and was the most students in attendance in school history. And this past week, our senior class had a great ending to the year, with a spirit week throughout the whole week to finish the year off strong. Seniors celebrated with a senior send-off today in the stadium with TCBY and Auntie Anne's food trucks to celebrate our last day in high school. It's a wonderful day to be a Warrior, and all the celebratory events were a lot of fun for myself and every other student at West. And lastly, I would like to recognize our 2 retiring staff members who have had a tremendous impact here at West. First is our beloved lunch lady Barb. She has had a unique way of brightening each student's day and will be missed. Along with her is Dr. Schmidt. Dr. Schmidt has been at West from the opening of our school in 2009, and along with this, she worked as principal at Lincoln Way Central for 8 years. We appreciate everything she has done to help establish the culture at Lincoln Way West, and she will truly be missed by me and every other student at Lincoln Way West. Thank you for a momentous year.
Plans for next year, Emma?
University of Kentucky, and I will be majoring in nursing.
So we've got the SEC covered, so congratulations.
Thank you very much, ladies. Moving on, Read for a Lifetime, the student recognition for this evening.
Good evening. Tonight's student recognition is to honor senior students who have participated in Read for a Lifetime over the course of their 4 years at Lincoln Way. Read for a Lifetime is a statewide high school reading program. All Illinois high schools receive a list of 25 book titles each year. Students who read at least 4 titles each year receive a Certificate of Achievement from Secretary of State and State Librarian Jesse White. However, The highest recognition is given to any student who reads all 25 titles for all 4 years. And this is exactly who we have with us tonight. To introduce these exceptional students and tell you a bit more about the Read for a Lifetime success at each school, we have our 3 librarian and media specialists from all 3 schools. Aileen Cochet from Central, Jen Seaman from East, and Jennifer Broman-Bender from West. I will now turn it over to Mrs. Cochet.
Good evening. This year, Lincoln Way Central had 44 students and 3 teachers complete Read for a Lifetime. A total of 321 books were read. We had 3 students and 1 teacher read all 25 books. 4 students participated all 4 years of high school, and 2 of those students are part of the prestigious 100 Titles Club. Tonight, I would like to introduce you to Central's 100 Title Club inductees. Jackson Lejeune. He will be studying computer science at the University of Illinois at Chicago next year. And Maura McInerney, who will be studying Earth, Society, and Environmental Sustainability at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Now I would like to introduce Mrs. Seaman from Lincoln Way East.
Thank you. This year at Lincoln Way East, we had 98 students complete the program all 4 years. 98 students complete the program. 12 teachers completed the program this year. 960 total books were read. 17 students read all 25 books. And we had 1 teacher. This particular teacher reads all 25 books every year. Quite incredible. 28 4-year participants and 400 Title Club inductees. First, Tioluwalashe Adelakun. He will be attending Harvard, pre-med, majoring in psychology. Maggie Brunel. She'll be attending Bradley University, majoring in social media marketing. America Navarrete. She'll be attending University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, majoring in industrial and systems engineering, and she's also going to be attending a week-long robotics internship in Mexico this summer. Adekemi Omoni. She will be attending Yale, majoring in computer science and creative writing. And I'd like to introduce Mrs. Broman-Bender from West.
Lincoln Way West High School is proud to announce that we had 100 students participate reading 840 books this year, with 37 4-year readers and 10 students reading all 25 books. Today we will honor the 4 students who have read 100 books from the program over the last 4 years. Sophia Bach. She will be studying speech and hearing science at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Ariana Borda, she will be studying biology at the University of Pennsylvania. Haley LeGrand, she will be continuing at the Transitions program at Lincoln Way Central and hopes to work with animals in her future. And Katie Nash will be studying mechanical engineering at the University of Alabama. Thank you.
And congratulations to you all. It's excellent.
Dr. Ferry, you have a closing? Go ahead.
Yes, indeed, they are exceptional students. You can see by their futures where they are headed is incredibly bright. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, parents, for coming as well. If you would please join Ms. Vishansky in the hallway for some VR photos. Thank you.
And before we move on to public comment, Mr. Kirking, I'd like to appoint you Secretary Pro Temp for the evening.
Accept your appointment.
Well, fantastic. You guys- Moving on to public comment, we have 4 speakers signed up, I believe. Where did I put it? First, we have Mary Ryan from the Frankfurt Public Library District.
Good evening. As you said, I'm Mary Ryan. I'm the head of youth services at the Frankfurt Public Library District, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. The library wants to be a strong partner to the Lincoln Way community. In the past, we have held study nights during finals week and midterms week that your students have attended, and we have also this year started a program where the special education group comes to the library every other Friday. Some of them do classes, some of them do service for the library, and we also make sure that we always have those Read for a Lifetime books for your students on the shelf, and several of them will come in the summer to start reading the next year's books. We would like to continue and strengthen our partnership with the Lincoln Way community, and I would like to congratulate you on your students because we have had many of them volunteering at the library this year. When everything was closed down for COVID, our teen librarian found an excellent way to make sure that students could still get community service hours. They set up a YouTube channel where students could post book reviews, they could share a skill, they could, one of them wrote a song and recorded, and then played this song and gave us a video about it. And so they got community service hours for contributing to our YouTube channel and also for sharing what they know with their community. And they also hosted our teen advisory board meetings online, and they got service hours that way. Once we were able to come back in person, we instituted COVID protocols to make sure that your students were safe. And so we've had them coming one at a time, several days a week, for an hour at a time, and we have seen many of your students coming through regularly to get their service hours taken care of. So we would like, again, to continue this going forward, so we want to make sure that your students all know that they can come to the library for volunteer hours, because we know that many people don't always know. So we do have a flyer about this. I don't know if any of the people here need one for one of their students, but I'd be happy to hand them out. To further support the community, we are in the process of doing a strategic plan overhaul. And so we have a survey that we would like for as many people to take as possible to let the library know what we can do, what is needed, what people in the community would like to see happening at the library. I have brought the link for some of those. We also have a paper version, and I was hoping that the board members would be willing to take it, because again, you are so vital to the Lincoln Way community, and we would like your feedback. And I would also like to, just make sure that the board can, share that we can provide more volunteer opportunities over the summer for your students. And again, we want feedback from everyone, from teachers, from students, from family of students. And so we thought this might be a good place to start. Again, I thank you for your time. Would any of you like the survey link? All right. Would any of you like one? Yes, but you don't have to live in Frankfurt to volunteer at the library.
Thank you very much. Moving on, our next speaker is Tessa Quinlan.
Hi, everybody. I come here tonight to speak on behalf of the Lincoln Way Special Services parent group that first originated in April of '21. We had a productive year and quarterly meetings with Dr. Tingley and Laura Erlenbar. But I first want to say thank you. Thank you to this parent group who believed in what was started and carried on with respect, kindness, and determination. This group was empowered by those who really felt there was a need to speak up, a need to make a child's school career matter, a want to make it that much more engaging with the rest of the Lincoln Way community student body. Our main goal was to help support Lincoln Way Special Services understand that our reasons for speaking up and concerns to bring matters to their attention was far overdue and needed. This was never intended to be a point of finger at what was wrong, but rather how we can be supportive on how to make it better. We believe we made our point when it comes to that nothing is perfect, and within the times we live in today, it was time to speak up on behalf of a group that doesn't do it enough. This past year has been amazing with the amount of parents who have felt the same, with now being the time to finally add some parental input on behalf of our children. We know nothing is perfect. We know time will allow better opportunities. We never expected change tomorrow, and we do know that over time change will happen. We will remain active as a group to be those strong advocates for our children. Some positives because of the group that I will mention were mentioned at our May quarterly meeting just last night and shared with the whole group. We did provide some parental input as how to help with those future logistics. Happy to share with anyone, as we want to be as transparent as possible. We ask that you review and really think about it as if you were in our shoes. The first thing, an inaugural Special Olympics Lincoln Way bowling team will be established come 22-23 school year, including transition students. Surrounding local elected officials, including Mokina, New Lenox, Manhattan, and Frankfurt, have all been contacted regarding their appearance at the inaugural days of the Special Olympics bowling teams, and all have responded requesting we keep them informed and are willing to support and participate in any way they can. Best Buddies now receives monthly check-in surveys as a system to provide feedback on their child's buddy and the required interaction as part of the program, and to hold the junior-senior leaders accountable for their involvement in the program. We created a platform for scheduled monthly open communication with Lincoln Way Director of Special Services and Superintendent. We are aware of a possibility of a new person to be added onto the transition program to only handle transition programming. We would be more than happy to include that person of interest to our community where we can continue to help support. We've met some really amazing families. Some things that need to be improved, everything else on the Google slideshow we spent 1 year discussing that we presented back a year ago. We've spent 1 year discussing Best Buddies, Special Games, and Special Olympics. If anyone would like to see the Google slideshow presentation that we presented, I'd be happy to share it with anyone if I haven't already done so. Some of those questions is, what can we tackle next? What does Lincoln Way seem to be able to help assist in moving forward within the Special Services Department? Some next steps on our end. I'll be meeting with some parents this summer within the group to help carry on the discussions for future high school transition concerns. I want nothing more to continue this open communication dialogue where we can build upon the level of respect to understand that us families just want what's best for our children, just like any other platform that speaks up on behalf of their children. We want nothing more than to not want to have these meetings, because that would mean we have zero concerns because all is going well and right in honor of our children. Some future ideas, better inclusion with the music departments. I have initiated contact with Ms. Jackson at Lincoln Way Central. Ironically enough, this is just an ad-lib, but just this week I had a parent reach out to me who I do not know but want to meet. Her daughter was a part of the pep band, and my son was just given the opportunity to be a part of that pep band this year, and she reached out to me and said that she has been meaning to reach out to me to let me know that how impactful Gavin was on her daughter's life. So I thought that was wonderful, because if it wasn't for him being a part of the pep band, I'm not sure their paths would have ever crossed. This shocked me to the core as his mom, he's my joy, but I was happy to hear on how my son was impactful on somebody else's life. That doesn't get taught in the classroom. And lastly, thank you to Laura and Dr. Tingley for adding another group to meet with, but we can say it's a first for me within my son's 4 years at Central. A first as a group as a whole. We honestly know how much it takes out of your own personal lives to make it happen, so please know it doesn't go unnoticed. We look forward to our meetings for this upcoming school year. Thank you on behalf of the Lincoln Way Special Services Parent Group.
Hello, my name is Carrie Nagel. I am a parent in Lincoln Way East School District. I have 2 boys, my husband and I. Owen was a graduate in 2019, and Ben is currently finishing his freshman year at East. Both of my boys have IEPs because they have special needs. And I believe the Hassel family, who I just met recently, brought to your attention some changes that have been made that as parents we weren't fully aware of, and they were specifically related to collaborative classes. So when my boys started grammar school back in 157C, collaborative teaching was sort of a new, innovative way of learning, and it was something that was really embraced by both parents, students, and the teaching environment as a way for a teacher and a special ed teacher to work together to make sure that no one gets left behind. And what was great about that program is it really fostered a lot of interaction. If students were falling behind or needed reteaching or support, that was there every step of the way. So no student who might need extra help, to manage their learning disabilities was left behind. So my boys in particular have really thrived under the collaborative model. So I was disappointed to receive in April 26th, which felt quite late to me, a very kind of simple email that was sent on behalf of the special ed coordinator at East that U.S. history for next year for my son, who'll be a sophomore, is no longer being offered. There was no explanation of why it wasn't being offered or what that meant. So many parents with children who have special needs responded like, okay, that's fine if you want to switch them to a different class, either the Gen Ed U.S. history or the more instructional class. But I don't think many of the parents understood what that meant for their student. So since then, I have networked with other parents and called meetings with our special ed director, Laura, as well as our special ed coordinator, Sarah. And we're meeting again next week just to kind of share our disappointment, and I wanted the school board to be aware of that as well. In particular, it's troubling to me that it's a trend that's happening over time. So I've noticed between my student who now is in college and now my freshman that over time, collaborative classes continue to be cut, and I just wanted the board to be aware of that. So English 4 for seniors is no longer offered as a collaborative course. Economics and civics for juniors is no longer offered as collaborative. Earth science is no longer offered as collaborative, although there may be changes next year. Health for freshmen is no longer collaborative. And in particular, I was disappointed when my boys were first coming into the Lincoln Way community. Summer school does not offer any support for children with special needs. So if you have an IEP, you are allowed to take summer classes, but there's no paraprofessionals and there's no collaborative learning at all. So my boys weren't able to participate in any sort of summer classes that would potentially allow them to take electives during the school year. So I would love to see the school board kind of just think about, are there changes we could make to support special ed? Because I just recently met these wonderful parents, and I'm really excited to know that this group is beginning, and that I really appreciate that Dr. Tingsley is supporting that and meeting with these, because it's really important. I think often as parents of students with special needs, we often feel our voices aren't heard. Often parents are overwhelmed, either financially, emotionally, or just with the logistics of a day of bringing a child to OT, PT, ST, doctor appointments, therapy appointments, medications. It's a lot. And so it's often hard for us as parents to advocate for our children or be fully aware of the services that are there. So we're very appreciative. And I, too, was a volunteer. So all through my boys' school at 157C, I served on the Education Foundation for 6 years and also volunteered within the classroom. So I think it's very much a team effort when parents can partner with teachers, with administrators, and with the school board to make the special ed program even stronger, because it takes a village, and I think that's something that parents in this community very much welcome and wish for. So I just wanted the school board again to be aware that this is a troubling trend, and to be honest, I was told this isn't the case, but it feels like it, is that budgets are coming into play, and in particular, I don't feel like we're always looking out for special ed classes. We're often looking, as a district, it's important that our students test well, that their CT class, scores are high, their SAT are high. And I know with COVID in particular, all of the students have really struggled academically. And it's important when we're selling homes, when we're trying to entice people to move into our district, that we have, strong scores. But it's more important, I think, for us to foster learning and celebrate the unique ways that each child learns. So I would really like us moving forward to really think more about if collaborating and those collaborative classes aren't working, and if there's data to show that, I would love for that have to been shared with parents, because in February, my son's classes were confirmed. I sent a note to his academic advisor. He was like, yep, you have all of these classes in place. So it was really disappointing in April to find out on April 26th, this class was no longer being offered. So now my student is in a predicament. How does he succeed in U.S. history? And moving forward, how will he be supported? So I continue to work with our case manager and our special ed team, but just wanted to, again, reiterate to the board that it's a troubling pattern that I'm seeing, and I just would love for us as parents and for you as the board and for the education team to better understand and fill in and support parents on if this collaborative model is no longer working, what could work or what should work in the future. So I appreciate all of your time and effort. I know it's challenging to be a volunteer, especially after all of you have finished a long day at school or at work. So I thank you for your time and your support, and just wanted this attention to again be reiterated by another parent, team here in the district. So thank you.
Ma'am, just a couple of points.
Sure.
We've added, we've added collaborative level assistance to chemistry. We've added collaborative biology. We've added collaborative physics fundamentals. Our overall collabs have increased over the years, and I will send you tomorrow the response to some of the questions I've received from another parent.
Okay.
And I'll also post these on the board document tomorrow, so that you can see our overall sections have increased, our collaborative sections have increased, our special ed support, even during our direst economic times, continued to increase. So over the last 6 years, we've continued to increase our services towards special ed. Completely understand this situation that you're dealing with. That's why we have those individualized meetings. But looking at case by case with each student and their present level of performance, our teams are confident these students are going to be able to be successful. But those individualized meetings, but as an overall effort, I can assure you that this has no budgetary constraints. We have added sections to special education every year that I've been superintendent. We've added 2 significant programs during that time. And so I will get this response to you via email tomorrow, as well as post it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak. I won't be very long. Myself and my wife were able to speak the last board meeting, so I appreciate your time during that meeting. And I just wanted to thank the board and Mr. Tingley for responding to the emails that I sent over. I just asked that we kind of keep the conversation open. Will probably have a few more questions for you. I just haven't had a chance to get to all the details and things like that. But like some of the other parents, we just have a few more questions. We just want to understand the process a little bit better. So that's all I have to say, and thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Tell your mother I said hello. Thank you.
Yes, hello again. So tonight's curriculum and instruction update focuses on board goals 1 and 2. So board goal number 1 states that Lincoln Way will ensure that all students are provided with the curricular and extracurricular opportunities for college and career readiness. The first objective under this goal was to provide all students with a comprehensive, viable, diverse curriculum during all models of instruction. As you know, the 21-22 school year returned us to face-to-face model of instruction, allowing us to renew our focus on curriculum review and revision. This process also allowed us to look carefully at our curriculum for cultural diversity as well. Although our entire curriculum is reviewed and revised annually, some of the courses that underwent a more formal review and revision due to new resources included psychology, English 1, AP Stats, U.S. History, Environmental Biology, Anatomy, Child Development, and Auto. The last task under this objective was to research possible curriculum management platforms for potential implementation for the 22-23 school year. After thoroughly vetting many different platforms, it was determined and decided that our current practice of using Microsoft 365 to manage and share our curriculum was the best choice for our departments at this time. The second objective under this goal was to explore, implement, and communicate career pathway opportunities for students. Under this objective was the task of preparing our PPS departments for the 22-23 implementation of School Links. School Links is a college and career readiness platform that guides students to discover their interests and passions, explore careers in colleges, understand their many post-secondary options, and then guide them to plan their progress towards their college and/or career goals. School Links is also a one-stop shop for the college application process, including a connection with Common App for college applications, Parchment for transcripts, and a portal for letters of recommendation. Because this application process is crucial to our current juniors, all junior students are currently onboarding to School Links before the end of the school year so that they will be ready for the college application process in the fall. All of our other students will be onboarded in the fall for full implementation of the College and Career School Links curriculum moving forward. The last task under this objective was to explore and communicate trades and vocational, as well as dual credit, dual enrollment, and certification opportunities for our students. This year, all 3 Skills USA teams participated at the state level, where the Lincoln Way East and West Skills USA welding fabrication teams took first and second place in the state, respectively. Also at the state competition, the community service team also earned state recognition and will be joining those welding teams at the national competition in Atlanta, Georgia this summer. Then, all 3 Skills USA teams combined to host the annual welding contest at Lincoln Way Central. This year's contest, titled Barbecue for the Brave, featured a fundraiser for the PFC Aaron Toppin Memorial Foundation, benefiting the Illinois United Service Organization. And finally, after a 2-year hiatus, we are eager to bring our Lincoln Way Career Fair back this fall, providing hands-on opportunities for students to explore future careers in the trades, unions, and other vocational organizations. With regard to the dual credit objective under this goal, our newest dual credit course is our first to be partnered with Governor State University. Students enrolled in our honors accounting course this year have the opportunity to earn 3 transferable college credits from Governor State's financial accounting course. With the dual credit partnership with Governor State now established, we will begin to pursue even more dual credit opportunities with them in the future. On to board goal number 2. Board goal number 2 states that Lincoln Way will provide high-quality instruction for all students in an equitable, caring, student-centered environment. The first objective under this goal was to provide professional development on innovative curriculum, instruction, and assessment. This professional development was guided by the annual survey given to our teachers at the end of each school year. This year, we provided professional development on both instructional technology, as it was our first year being one-to-one, and also social-emotional learning, as we were coming off a very unusual and stressful year of COVID. Therefore, each school offered a series of morning professional development opportunities that alternated between technology and social-emotional topics all year long. Our other year-long professional development opportunity, our Lunch and Learns, focused on our last objective under this goal, which was to develop cultural competence within Lincoln Way schools that results in equitable and inclusive climates and cultures in our schools. Each of the Lunch and Learns introduced the Illinois Culturally Responsive Learning Standards with a focus on making sure all students feel included and have a sense of belonging at Lincoln Way. The last objective was perhaps the most significant: provide social-emotional learning and support to all students during all models of instruction. With nationwide reports of the deterioration of mental health and social-emotional wellness over the past 2 years, we made it a priority to connect with and check in with every student. This began with the Universal Screener Survey. The first survey was a few weeks into this new in-person school year, and the results showed what we had hoped would be true about in-person learning. Students were far more engaged in their learning than last year and far more connected to their peers. The results of the survey were also used to identify individual students who needed either academic or social-emotional support. All of these students were then contacted by PPS for further support. The second survey was given in February this year and focused specifically on students' competencies and well-being. This survey had also been given last year at this time during COVID in order to identify any students during remote learning who needed support since we didn't have eyes on them on a regular basis. This year's survey once again showed what a difference in-person learning makes, as students district-wide showed increases in their emotional state, their self-efficacy, and once again felt more connected to their teachers and peers. And finally, to wrap up, I'd like to share something new that we're doing this summer. In order to address any remaining academic gaps, any freshman student who struggled in English 1 or Algebra 1, resulting in a failing grade, was invited to participate in a summer remediation program funded by ESSER funds, so there's no cost to these families. This program will diagnose and provide remediation in the areas that students struggled the most, and upon full completion of the 10-day multi-hour program, students will be allowed to move forward into English 2 and geometry. It is our hope that by giving these freshman students the opportunity to remediate their foundational skills in math and English, that they will be back on track, have a fresh start in the fall, and be academically successful moving forward. And that concludes my update for tonight.
Amy, how many students do we have signed up for the freshmen?
We just went over 53 just today.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about the career fair?
Of course.
Have we reached out to Cisco? I know a couple years ago we had Janetta from Cisco brought in about 13 trades or so. She's since retired, so I don't know if we have the connection with the new person.
We know the new person.
Okay.
We are ready to go.
Because I've already been emailing them trying to.
Yep.
Okay, good.
We will reconnect first thing, either over the summer or first thing in the fall.
Got it. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda, which includes the approval of the regular meeting minutes of April 21st, 2022, approval of the closed meeting minutes of April 21st, 2022, approval of the payroll of May 5th, 2022, personnel reports, out-of-state travel, and the treasurer's surety bond. Would anyone like anything pulled from the consent agenda for discussion?
Can we just pull one person's name out of the? No, I'm just kidding. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? A motion and a second. Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the action items. First up, the presentation of invoices for April 22nd through May 19th, 2022.
Motion to approve the invoices in the amount of $2,881,939.87 dated May 19th, 2022.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just had a question. I know it's a much smaller amount and it's actually gone down from previous, but are we having the same kind of effect on the dental claims? Our dental claims outpacing, the premiums we're collecting?
No.
And Mike, the diesel fuel costs obviously looks like it's going up.
It is, and I believe Mr. Leone might have, is he out here? I think he might have some of those fuel numbers for you.
Do you want to know the numbers? Go ahead and push the green button there.
Okay, so our budget for fuel is $1.1 million for diesel and unleaded. And right now, we have spent $817,000, so we're close. District 843 has almost an all unleaded fleet, so technically we've spent more than what I had budgeted for unleaded. They've just recently brought on a couple more diesel vehicles, so we'll be adjusting that next year, and we're still under budget on diesel, so we're okay. Our average price for diesel in April was $4.21 a gallon, and for unleaded it was $3.63. So that's where we're at. That's through April. And I know diesel's retailing. Well, I paid $5.09 for unleaded yesterday, so, and diesel's retailing for more than that. So we're gonna sneak by.
Thank you, Mike. We did have a very, very conservative budget in that area, and where normally at this time I would be telling you for next year's budget, we don't need to keep it there, we can bring it back down, we'll be way under. I'm not sending that message, so we'll need to track it and keep it conservative.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Oh, I did have a second? I'm sorry. With that, Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the treasurer's report for April 2022.
In April, revenues were $3.35 million, expenses were $7.25 million. Cash balance at the close of the month was $15.56 million. 62.3% of budgeted revenues year to date have been realized compared to 61.2% this time last year. And similarly, 80% of budgeted expenses have been realized compared to 80.3%. We're tracking right on there, with the exception, of course, ad nauseum, of our insurance claims, and we continue to monitor that deficit. I did want, in the investment section of this report, I did want to verbalize just a report. I did meet with financial advisors from PMA earlier this week to talk about some different investment opportunities as U.S. Treasury rates do remain high, which is a good thing. Kelly and Janine from the business office joined that conversation and provided input. I went line by line with PMA through the board's policy 430, which handles investments, outlining both the board's objective with investments as well as what investments I, as your treasurer, am authorized to make. And we're allowed, per this policy and per the Public Funds Investment Act, to invest in money market accounts, FDIC, CDs, U.S. Treasuries, federal land banks, municipal bonds. It's a wide variety. Municipal bonds can be both taxable and tax exempt, for example. PMA, we can invest in commercial paper at this time. PMA is not recommending said path. Corporate notes, negotiable CDs. And if you're not familiar with these different terms, obviously some of these are safer, some of them carry much more risk. And so right now, we provided detailed cash flow data to PMA just for laddering purposes, and they came back and provided 120-day, 150-day, 180-day options for us just based on, maybe it's our summer capital projects coming due and we need to pay those in July and August. We need enough money in September. The CDs for those terms carried net interest rates of 74 basis points, 86, and 99. For comparison's sake, U.S. Treasury bills have already made their jumps, so 120, 150, and 180 are sitting at 1%, 1.01, and 1.25%, respectively. And so right now, those are our best options. Really, in terms of everything else on that list, we do not feel that any of those are the right choices for us. We're going to keep some liquidity. We are looking at some other money market accounts with a little bit higher returns with a one business day turnaround. But again, treasuries remain highest in terms of yield. One important piece, we did talk about bond principal and interest payments and those timelines. So after we get our property tax distributions here in May and June, the district has a $21 million bond payment due on January 1st of 23, for example. So by investing some of the property tax revenue into a T-bill maturing on December 1st of 22, that allows plenty of time before the bill comes due. And that's got a net yield as of, I think it's as of May 13th is when we pull it, of 1.3%. So these are significantly higher than what we've seen, so things are trending in the right direction. In short, I just want the board to know we're refining a little bit more of a robust investment plan with PMA, so thank you for your questions last month.
Mike, as we look down the future, just give the board a brief overview of the Cook County tax collections and the possibility of us maybe shoe on the other foot, so to speak.
Sure. So one of the things I did bring up to PMA, and I thank you, Dr. Tingley, I don't want to get over our skis here and very conservatively, but I did mention to them, so Cook County has potentially delayed their bills until January. So there could be a number of school districts in Cook County who've got some pretty big bond payments due who won't have their tax collections yet. And so this actually happened, a prior experience of mine in another district. The board had issued a very small one-year bond, and it was bought by another township treasurer's office. I know this district has been on the other side of that, for example. And so I don't want to promise something that's not materialized yet, but to Dr. Tingley's point, we're evaluating other options because those can be win-wins. That might be a better rate than what we might get in a CD. That might also be cheaper for the Cook County district than borrowing in another way to be able to make those bond payments. So nothing material yet. I just want you to know that that's something we did talk with PMA, and they have, they obviously watch, and as financial advisors, they facilitate a lot of that, and making sure that there's no conflict of interest or anything like that in terms of who they advise, but they will keep us on their potential bidders list if that is anything, and if an opportunity comes, I will bring it to the board.
So PMA would tell us that a school district in Cook County that we know of needs X amount, and
Potentially, and
we would make the call, or they would?
No, you make the call.
Right.
The board makes the call, not them. But
Okay.
again, it needs to be short term, right? Because we're not in a position right now to go buy a 5 or 10 year thing. What we're talking about right now is getting a district through, and that actually allows us to get the money back for our own operating needs, but
And
might get a little.
if you recall, it was PMA who put us in contact with Worth
Yeah,
Worth
I was gonna say,
Township.
Village of Worth,
when we
same thing.
borrowed
What was it?
$3.2 million for
4?
about 75 days and at 4.5%.
4%, yeah. Thought it was something like that, yeah.
First meeting, yes.
So that's kind of the summary on the investments. I know some of you had some questions, and thank you, by the way, for the guidance last month, so I just wanted to circle back on that. To round out the treasurer's report, the month of April had a positive cash variance of about $550,000. Now that is primarily due, we did get some extra unanticipated evidence-based funding money from the state after ISB determined that its contracted partner made errors in district calculations statewide for 3 years. So we did get some extra money there. And then looking ahead, we will see our first round of property tax distributions in the month of May, and I anticipate our cash balance as of May 31st to be $18.36 million.
In terms of the benefit claims, I know we've said they've been trending higher. Do we see a light at the end of the tunnel, or is it just
They're coming down, Aaron. Yeah, they're coming down. I wouldn't say a full light. I think we're going to have a new baseline. I don't know, just given the cost of doing business, if you will, it might have shifted up. However, if you'll remember, I think it's like $902,000 in the bills here is the BCBS for this month. The previous month was $933,000. Before that, it was $1.3 million. They're coming down gradually. Hopefully that trend continues, is all I can tell you for right now.
no idea what that new baseline would be? Or?
I don't know, Kelly and I did a little bit of math. We are thinking it's probably closer. When you remove some of the things that we do anticipate and know that on our plan that might be one-time things, you're probably looking at 800 to 850, but it used to be 650 to 7. Right. So we have to factor that in. And again, that's in the preliminary FY23 budget as well as the 5 cast that you all saw. We've already baked that in.
Well, if you would have told me 6 years ago that we'd be sitting here as a potential lender as opposed to a borrower, I would have thought you were all nuts, but. We, can I say we?
Say we again, Joe.
With that, I have a motion. Do I have a second for the treasurer's report? Motion is second. Linda, if you'd open the vote, please. Somebody did.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to student activities.
Student activity report is in your backup materials for your review. For the month ended April 30th, fund balance was $2,118,032.61. Revenues of $336,666.01, and expenditures of $337,185.99. There were a few accounts with negative balances. They've been taken care of by the end of the month, except for class of 2022 East, which will be positive by the end of May for the prom time. That concludes the report for student activities.
Any questions? If none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the student activities report for April 2022 as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Lindy, if you open the vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the early release proposal.
We would like to propose an amendment to the calendar for some early release time. That's one of the items of feedback we received from teachers throughout the year. As you recall, we used to have delayed starts baked into our schedule every month. We simply couldn't do that because of transportation. The morning, with our shortage of drivers. However, we've determined that in the afternoon, we would be able to make this happen as long as we did it soon enough that the buses could get back onto their normal routes. So we would propose half school improvement days, and you can see there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 days. There are other days off before breaks that would also be those half days. Students would not eat lunch, but on those days, the students on their lunch advisory, both groups of those students would go to the auditorium for presentations from PPS. That helps streamline the process for our counselors. Instead of going advisory by advisory, they get everyone in one place and they'll have them for 33 minutes. They'll be more effective and efficient that way. And then this would allow for collaboration, professional development on these particular dates after school. We are well within school code as you're able to bank excess minutes or hours throughout the school year. We've counted that. Everything is in order, so I would propose that the board approve this amendment as presented to allow for half-day school improvement professional development as presented.
Do we have any collective bargaining issues with this?
No, there are none. And I did share the proposal with their the leadership team of the union to get their feedback.
Are they positive?
Correct, yes.
Any further questions on this proposal? If none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the early release proposal as presented.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second? Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
And thank you to Dr. Murphy for putting the time in on that. Good work, Brian.
Thank you. Moving on to our copy paper bid for the upcoming year.
Just speak very briefly on this. Paper costs are high, as are many other things. We are ending 3 years of a flat pricing with our prior vendor, Veritiv. This is a bid where we needed to go out for a new contract, and nearly all vendors are saying they just cannot submit bids. They don't have the supply, or they can't guarantee the price point. So we did receive 2 bids, with one being sufficient, I believe, for our needs for this next year. But I recommend I'd like to see a more competitive market, and typically we'd be getting 6, 7, 8 bids on this. So I would recommend just a 1-year contract, and we're going to purchase up front to receive additional discounts from Garvey's. So then we'll evaluate the market next spring. For sake of context, district-wide paper costs, just for your regular 8.5 by 11 white copy paper, will be about $127,000. So you can factor that in terms of budget. And while the need for some printing will not obviously disappear anytime soon, with our one-to-one initiative and all teachers and students have devices, we do hope to see gradual decreases. I don't think that'll be an overnight thing, but gradual and mindful paper consumption over time as our students and staff settle into that instructional model. So, recommend approval with Garvey's as presented.
So it's up about 50%, huh?
Yeah, it was 29 with Veritiv. Veritiv was, if we were not under contract, they would have been at 44 currently, just buying off market right now. So they've been giving us 39. And again, this isn't something that's breaking the budget, but it's another one of those items that is indicative of just where the supply market is right now across sectors. And so that's something that we're, even more than purchase services and other labor, it's really your supplies that we're being cognizant of as we build next year's budget.
Will they deliver this all at once, or will you get it over a period of time?
Great question. We used to get it all up front. We moved toward getting it over time. The previous vendor, there were some issues with it jamming and things like that, so we moved to that. All of our building supervisors, we have guaranteed we have the space temperature controlled, so by buying it up front, they knocked an additional $5 per case off, so that's the route we're going to go.
You might not be able to get it as the year goes on.
Right.
We're having all kinds of trouble.
Yep.
Bulk orders of paper.
We're gonna get it while we can, and at that lower price than buying as we go. Then at least we have the product, and I've got the next year to see how that market unfolds. Yep. Thanks, Joe.
If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to accept the copy paper bid as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is open. Mrs. Stokes?
Linda, I have a connection problem.
Thank you.
Yes,
Do you vote
I'm
aye?
in favor.
Thank you.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the photography service agreement.
Our existing agreement with Burns Photography expires this June 30th, and we are requesting the board approve a new agreement with Burns. We are very happy with the quality of Burns Photography, and the district views this as a professional service in which subjective quality matters. I believe several years ago, this was bid, just thrown out there to see what vendors might be interested, but it does not need to be bid. If we were literally just printing student IDs, for example, that would be an example of a service that would require it. But because the photographs are used for yearbooks, they're used for websites and different athletic pieces, we have a great relationship with Burns and feel good about the quality. So this new agreement is for 3 years with the option of extending 2 additional years at the discretion of the district. And the district earns, just so you know, between about $15,000 and $20,000 annually from photography commissions.
Any questions about the proposed agreement? If none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the photography service agreement as presented. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to our informational items. The report for the Special Ed District 843 Governing Board meeting from April 26th. Do you have anything for us, Deidre?
No, I'm sorry. No, I don't. I don't have anything in addition to what's been reported.
Thank you. Moving on, FOIA requests.
There are no FOIAs for this month.
How about that? Moving on, Building and Grounds report.
Buildings and Grounds, thank you to Mike and Kelly for getting this together. We were able to get this done this week, and we'll continue to provide this report for the board.
Thank you. Community Relations.
Once again, in your backup materials for your review, we do have information on the 22 retirees that is slowly loading, but it's in there for your backup review. They will be recognized next Friday in each of their buildings at Institute Day.
Yeah, the social media stuff they've been doing with it, that's been neat to watch and read. I think
Yes,
that's a good practice to keep going, because you can see people jump in from all different generations who have interacted with staff, so I applaud whoever came up with that. That was a good idea.
Jennifer, Jen, good work. Yes.
I applaud Jennifer.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, Asset of the Month.
Asset of the month for June is family. Family life provides high levels of love and support. The most important thing in the world is family and love. Quote by John Wooden. At home, give more hugs, verbal enforcement, educate at school, educate parents on how to be supportive of their children, and in the community, provide and publicize family crisis hotlines.
Thank you. Quarterly insurance report.
It's in your backup materials for review. If there are any questions, I'm sure Mike, Kelly, Rob, Linda, they're all ready to answer.
Question is,
Yeah.
we talking about STUM, have we engaged them to, like,
Go
help
ahead,
us?
Mike.
I mean,
Yes.
just a quick 30 seconds.
Yes.
Yes
We've
is
had
a good answer.
Yes, we've had many meetings, many conversations, and they are helping. They're part of why I've been able to give some of the updates I have on what we think is going to be recurring cost versus one time. Some of it's prescriptions. We have some high prescriptions that don't have generics, for example, that hopefully generics come out next year and that cost decreases. So we're working. STUM doesn't have a magic 8-ball either, unfortunately, but they've been good to have those conversations with, and they've got the connection with Blue Cross.
Yeah, and they would know how systemic it is, I guess, is where I was coming with STUM, because of their interaction with other organizations, probably similar size.
They do, and costs are up. Yes, and they would agree with that. That being said, costs are not up to the degree of what we're seeing. Now, in one way, that's actually encouraging, because what that means is this is an anomaly year for us, right? This is a high claims year. If this were the case for everybody, I think we'd be having a whole nother conversation.
And that's a very good point. They don't seem as concerned as we are, because their belief is it's just that anomaly year for us, and an organization our size is going to have those occasionally.
Yep.
Moving on to the fiscal year 2023 budget calendar.
Not much to say. I just wanted to give you an update on it. Cost center budgets from buildings and department heads are due back to Kelly and me on May 23rd. I already have the preliminary revenues completed and the salary and benefits costs calculated for the FY23 budget, subject to any kind of last-minute hiring and personnel changes in Rob's world. The first draft, very preliminary, of the FY23 budget will be discussed in June.
Thank you. First reading for policies.
Included in your policies is the first reading. I still have to reach out to John Izzo to ask him a couple questions. I'm going to get a couple of his opinions and then provide the board some details. For instance, policy 2.230 talks about public participation at school board meetings. that's in response of what's happening kind of throughout the country and limiting public comment, not allowing public comment. So I'll get some clarification from John to have ready for draft discussion for round 2 in June.
Any legislative report?
Nothing to report.
Superintendent's district report.
We do have some good news. We're proud to announce that Moody's has upgraded our rating from Baa1 to A2. Upgrade is reflective of the hard work and dedication of the board, administration, and staff. According to Moody's, the upgrade of the issuer rating to A2 reflects the district's improved financial position combined with execution of a debt refunding that significantly reduces debt service costs to make them relatively level over the next several years from what had previously been a rapidly escalating schedule. So in all, that's 2 bumps from Moody's, so another outside independent agency acknowledging our financial improvement.
Excellent news. Any other district business?
Nothing to report.
COVID mitigation plan.
No updates.
And correspondence.
Just thanks from the Skills USA students for their participation and them going to nationals this summer in Atlanta.
It's wonderful as well. Yes. With the end of the informational items, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees, and collective negotiating.
So moved.
A motion, a second. I guess, Linda, if you'd open the vote, please.
The vote is almost open. Let's see, the vote is open.
And there'll be nothing after tonight, right? Correct. Yeah. And there will be no action after closed session tonight.
The vote is unanimous.
Yeah.